Hello, Horror Squad, and today we're going to be doing a tier list. Now, before 2022 officially ends, I decided that I'm going to be doing this tier list before it officially ends. Now, as you can see, we got all these horror games here that we're going to be ranking based on how good the gameplay was and how fun it was. And we got S to F. You get the drill of how this tier list works. And basically, I just want to remind people that this is my opinion, that you might not you might disagree with maybe some of these opinions and stuff. I know there's like some of these games on here that definitely people are not going to be happy with my opinions, but you got to remember my opinion. And if you have your own personal takes on some of these horror games, feel free to put it in the comments. But other than that, yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this and let's get started. All right, so the first game first that we got is the back rooms. Now, the back rooms is the same situation as Aprophobia, so I'm just going to rank both of them while I'm at it. So the back rooms and Aprophobia both have the same problem. They're both roller coasters. They both went up high, and they continued to go high, and then they went straight down. I have no idea what happened behind the scenes between these two games, but let's go over the back rooms first. So the back rooms, the first beginning levels were great. I enjoyed them. Me and Maury had a lot of fun, had a blast. And then the new update came out and they added the new levels, which weren't really that great. In my opinion, they're better than Aprophobia's new levels, which we'll talk about in a second. But their new levels weren't really that great because they're just walking simulators. And not only that, you had the boss that was completely broken. And then you had to basically do a puzzle that was really difficult to figure out. But other than that, it is better than Amoraphobia because the Aprophobia's new levels are absolutely terrible. So the back rooms, for it not having bad levels, I'll give it a B tier. For it not having really much bad levels, like I said, the street one is mostly just a walking simulator, and the boss kind of sucked. So yeah, those are the only two bad levels I've seen, and the puzzle one was kind of confusing. But other than that, it's not as bad as Aprophobia. Now, Aprophobia, however, its new levels are just they're completely downhill. So Aprophobia went from having great levels and the levels being absolutely fantastic to levels that are absolutely frustrating and annoying as hell. So, for example, you had the parkour level. That was not fun at all. Then you had the puzzle one, which it was boring. And then you had the three newest levels, which you had to avoid this one monster. I still don't know how it works. I don't know if you have to stare at it. I think you have to stare at it, and if you don't, you die. And then you had that boat one, and then you had the one with a big giant maze and stuff. It's all I could say for the new levels of Aprophobia is that they were just a mess. They were a mess. They weren't fun at all, and everybody agreed with me that yeah, the newest levels of Aprophobia just they kind of suck. They really suck. So it's getting the C tier. It's mediocre. The back rooms had better levels than Aprophobia. Aprophobia just, like I said, went completely downhill. So I'm hoping that they make a recovery and give better levels in the future of 2023. That's what I'm hoping for, but time will tell. We'll see what happens in 2023. So yeah, those are my rankings for those two. Next up is Scan Demo. Now, Scan Demo, ooh, I love Scan Demo. Scan Demo was possibly one of the most interesting games out of all of these. Out of all these games that we have right here, I think Scan Demo was the most interesting one. The way it was made and everything, it was just so awesome. And the game was very scary to me. I don't know why. Just not knowing what's going to happen while I'm just scanning the room and just looking around just to see if anything popped up. It was so terrifying to me. And I would love to see more horror games adapt to this concept and use this type of gameplay because it's really awesome. I love it. And for that, it's getting an A tier. It's an awesome game. It was pretty scary. And, the fact that you just don't know what's going to happen is just amazing to me. And I really want to see more horror games use this type of gameplay. And if you have not checked it out, I highly recommend checking out the scan demo. It's really, really good. But yeah, that's a scan demo. Next up is Rohagen. Now, I'm ranking the first chapter. I'm not ranking the second chapter because the second chapter, in my opinion, was not great at all. It was pretty bad, in my opinion, compared to the first one. The first one I like a lot because it's basically a time-based game where you have to solve puzzles before the time runs out, and if the time runs out, you die. It's pretty simple as that. I like the concept of it. The only problem is it's not really that scary. It's just the main scary part about the game is just the timer. The timer running out. But other than that, it's just you solving puzzles, and that's really about it. So it's getting a C tier for that, just because you're just solving puzzles, and there's nothing really terrifying or scary about it. So yeah, Rohagen. All right, the next game, and this one is going to cause some controversy on my channel already, and that is, I'm not a big fan of Forgotten Memories. I'm going to be for real. I wasn't a big fan of it. The reason why is because the gameplay kind of sucks. The gameplay not only sucks, but this game spams so many jump scares. Like this game has to be the most spamming jump scare game I have ever seen compared to any other horror game I have on this list. This game spams more jump scares than possibly Mimic and Judy combined. That's how many jump scares are in this game. But yeah, the gameplay sucks. The jump scares are spammed so many. And the game is kind of frustrating a little bit. Like, yes, I get it. The game is really, really well made. And the cutscenes are awesome. And the voice acting is awesome too. I like the voice acting. I like the cutscenes. And I like the visuals. But the gameplay, like I said, it sucks. It's literally just you keep the puppet at bay, and you keep the power on, and you keep the oxygen on while you having a bunch of roadblocks stacked on top of you while you're doing all this. It's just so annoying. It's infuriating. And not only that, the game play is mostly dependent on how many people are with you. If you're playing by yourself, you have fun. This game is absolutely hell playing by itself. So yeah, if you're playing by yourself, I feel sorry for you. 2 players, I feel sorry for that one guy has to go back and forth. 3 players, you can literally beat this game easily, and 4 players, you can easily beat the game again. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of this game, and if you are a fan of this game and you like the game, that is totally fine by me, but for me, nah, I'm not a fan of this game. So yeah, it goes to C tier. It's mediocre. And yeah. All right, next one is Edward the Man-Eating Train. Now, I just played this literally a month ago and played a lot of it. It's a really fun game. It has a lot of potential to be a really, really great game. The main problem that I see with Edward the Man-Eating Train, and that is that the gameplay kind of sucks a little bit. It's mostly just survival. You're in a train, and you have to survive and kill Edward, or not kill Edward, but you're shooting Edward, and you're kind of just surviving. That's literally the game. It's just surviving, which kind of sucks. You know, I was expecting, me being able to get out of the train, and maybe like Edward damages the train and it stops the timer, and you have to get out and repair the train while Edward's still after you. Or maybe he's about to disconnect a part of the train, and you have to connect it back, or the part of the train goes out or something off the railing or something, and everybody that was on those train carts die and stuff. Like, there's so much you could do with Edward the Man-Eating Train that I'm kind of shocked that they're not doing it. And it's, and they really need to, because the gameplay, like I said, is very, very sucky. But yeah, this is based on Choo Choo Charles, for anyone that's wondering. And Choo Choo Charles is a really fun game. You should really check it out. It's a really scary and really fun game. But other than that, this game has a lot of potential. I'm putting it in B tier because it's a really good game. It's just the gameplay really needs some work. And other than that, yeah, Edward. Oh boy, my 2 favorite games. Mimic. So this is Mimic Book 2, Chapter 1 that I'm ranking, and The Nightmare Circus. So I'm going to start with Book 2, Chapter 1, because I'll give a brief details on my ranking for this one, because I've already ranked this one in the past, so I'll give my brief details on basically my ranking for this one. So it's still a C tier. It's still mediocre because the gameplay kind of sucks. It's just you do something to unlock something else. You got one really crappy chase scene, which is with the snake. Then you have that ship with the candles and stuff that was pretty annoying to get past. And then you have the game not telling you what to do, and that was also annoying. But there is things I do like about Book 2, Chapter 1, and that is I like the models, especially the snake. I like the snake model. I thought the snake model was freaking awesome. And I like the paint minigame. I think the paint minigame was really cool. And the visuals of the game looked really great as well. But other than that, it's a C tier because the gameplay sucks. It was a little bit annoying, and the game not telling you what to do was also very annoying. But yeah, C tier. All right, Nightmare Circus. Now, Nightmare Circus is a D tier. It's really, really bad. So the Nightmare Circus is really terrible because the gameplay is really terrible, and the boss fight is one of the worst things I have ever seen out of any horror game. Maybe it might compare against Judy maybe a little bit, but other than that, the boss fight was really, really garbage. The gameplay was literally just you collect something and you hide. And that was the entire gameplay throughout the rest of Nightmare Circus. That was it. That was literally the entire gameplay. And then you had this really crappy boss fight along with it. It was just terrible. The only thing I liked about Nightmare Circus was the models, the voice acting, and the visuals. Those three are the only things I liked about it. Other than that, I disliked everything else about it. So yeah, it's a D tier, not a complete F tier, because at least the voice acting, the visuals, and the models are still really, really good. But yeah, that's Nightmare Circus. Next up is Blair. I am so happy that Blair has finally got off its feet and finally has made some progress to being a really good Roblox Phasmophobia game. It still has a long way to go. Don't get me wrong, it still has a long way to go and still has a lot more things that they need to do with it. But I'm glad that they're back to updating this game again and giving it the love that it definitely deserves. Because at first, I thought they were leaving this game to die. I was being for real. I thought they were never going to come back to this game and update it again. But they did. They came back. They fixed literally a lot of the problems that I had with Blair before. They did a lot of things with it. And I'm happy that they came back and fixed a lot of things and made the gameplay and made this game a lot more better. So they still have a long ways to go. They still have a lot of things to do, but I have hope that in 2023 they do a lot more things and make this game a lot more better than most Roblox Phasmophobia games. So yeah, Blair is going to be in B tier. It has a lot of potential, and I can't wait to see what else they do with this game in 2023. Alrighty, Judy, F tier. Alrighty. Judy is an F tier because of Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is probably the worst thing I have ever played ever. I'm going to be for real. Judy Chapter 3 is the worst thing I've ever played, even worse than Mimic Chapter 4. And that's saying something. I thought Chapter 4 of Mimic was literally the worst thing I've ever played. Judy Chapter 3 takes it 100%. Like, if we remove the bugs, even though the bugs literally played a role in this, but if we remove the bugs entirely, the gameplay is still just as terrible. It's really, really bad. The only gameplay in this game from this chapter that I actually liked was the parkour. The parkour in Chapter 3 was the only thing I liked. Everything else I did not like at all. And the bugs and the glitches that Chapter 3 had and the fact that no one released it in that condition just made everything so much worse. And yeah, Judy Chapter 3 gave me the worst experience I've ever had in any game ever. So it's an F tier. It deserves it. And I hope that Noah never does that again. So yeah, Judy is F tier. Next up is the Lights. Now, Lights I recently played not too long ago. And this game has a lot of potential. Now, obviously, Blair is better for right now. But this game still has a lot of potential to be really good. Because when I played it, the maps looked really great. The gameplay was pretty decent. it has a lot of potential to be a really good Roblox Phasmophobia game. They just need to do some more work on the gameplay, do some more work, and I think this game would look really, really great. But for now, it's a C tier. It's mediocre. Blair is obviously still better, in my opinion. But I definitely would love to see more from the lights in 2023. And hopefully we'll get to see more of that. But for now, it's a C tier. It's mediocre. And I think that's a good ranking for it. Next up is Lost Rooms. Now, Lost Rooms is a D tier. I did not enjoy the gameplay of Lost Rooms. It's literally just you collect a bunch of things and you survive. It's really boring. If I want to play something like this right here, I'd rather be playing the Rake, because at least the Rake, I have some enjoyment and have something fun out of that. This game, all you do is just collect scrap in a weird looking maze area, or just a weird corridor area. I don't know how to describe it. It's really boring. That's all I could say this game is just that it's super, super boring. I'd rather play this, though, than Nightmare Circus. So I'll put that above Nightmare Circus because I'd rather play this than Nightmare Circus. But it's super boring, and maybe Morbid has done a lot more to it because I haven't played it in a while, so I don't know if he's done anything else with it. But from what I experienced, it's really boring as hell. So it's a D tier for me. Blueberry Friends, the game that I'm kind of curious on why it's super popular as it is right now, because this game is like really, really popular, and I'm kind of curious on why it's so popular. I don't know why it is or why it's as popular as it is, but I'm gonna give it a B tier because, you know, from Blueberry Friends, there's really nothing new about it. The only thing I liked about it was the gameplay. I thought the gameplay was pretty solid, but the story is pretty much the same that it's the same story that we've always seen from many other different story games that we've seen over the past few years of, you know, Roblox story games, you know, that came out, like the camping stories and all that stuff. It's pretty much the same thing that we've already seen. But the gameplay is pretty good. I enjoyed it, and I think the game was fun for the one time I played it. And yeah, and that's pretty much all I could say about Blueberry. It's a B tier. I think it's a good game. And yeah, that's all I got to really say about that one. All right, and we got Doors. Now, I know people's opinions on Doors, that Doors' gameplay is very, very not great, and I understand that, but you got to realize that out of all of these horror games that I have right here, and since it's the end of 2022, this Doors is the obvious best horror game for right now. Now, to me, I don't consider it the best horror game this year because I got a horror game somewhere in here that I consider better than Doors. Like, I consider way better than Doors. But I rank Doors in S tier because compared to any of these horror games, it's obviously better. It's really better made. And I do like the game. I think the game is really fun. And yes, it does get repetitive. The gameplay definitely needs a lot more added to it to make the game more fun. And I understand, you know, some of the arguments and stuff. But for me, I think Doors deserves the S tier because it's something that, you know, it's at least not going the route that Mimic did and most other horror games did. It did something new, and I'm happy it did something new. And, you know, I'm happy that Doors gave us a brand new experience that I've been kind of waiting on for a while. So Doors is an S tier. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. But to me, it's an S tier. Next up is Front Page Horror Games. Now, I'm going to not talk about the drama that happened. And that is that Searcher kind of abandoned his community, which kind of sucks. I don't know why he did that, or why he left his community behind, but I'm just going to rank the game only and not the drama and stuff. I'm going to just rank the game itself. And the game itself, I like the game. It is basically just a simple game of this game making fun of Roblox horror games. And that's really all this game is mostly about, just making fun of other horror games. And that's really much about all I could say about it. That's really really, that's all it is. And it's really fun. You'll get a few laughs at it. It's a really good game, and I definitely recommend checking it out. And I'm giving it a B tier because it's a good game. And, compared to these two, yeah, it's a B tier. Us or Toys. Now, Us or Toys Chapter 1 and 2 were really good. I'm ranking an A tier. I enjoyed Us or Toys Chapter 1 and 2. Well, Chapter 1 a little bit because Chapter 1 kind of did make me a little bit upset a little bit because of me not finding that weapon because the weapon wasn't really obvious. But Us or Toys Chapter 1 and 2 was really, really fun. I enjoyed the gameplay, the cutscenes, the boss fights, everything about it I really, really loved. The only problem I have about Us or Toys, and that is it's missing the horror. It's missing the horror. I don't know where the horror is in this game. Yes, it has some little bit of horror, but for the most part, I don't see it. I don't see the horror in this game really that much. It's mostly just action and, the game being fun, and that's really about it. So it's not going to get an S tier because of that, but it's a really fun game, and I really recommend to check it out. It's a lot of fun. I definitely see people having the best time with this game. And yeah, that's Us or Toys. All right, the next one is Trespass. Now, Trespass is a game I haven't talked about in a while. And Chapter 1 and 2, or Chapter 1, for people that has watched my videos in the past, Chapter 1 was absolutely terrible. Chapter 1 was really, really bad. I did not enjoy it. I absolutely hated Chapter 1. And even I considered the Chapter 1 to be the worst thing I've ever played. But then I played Chapter 2 and 3. And Chapter 2 and 3 were great. I enjoyed Chapter 2 and 3. Chapter 2 and 3 were so much better than Chapter 1. Like, if they would just remove Chapter 1, this game would be so much more better. Chapter 2 and 3 was so much fun. Maybe Chapter 3 wasn't as much fun as Chapter 2 because I kind of remembering that Chapter 3 was very repetitive at the mansion part. But other than that, it was still a lot more fun. It was way more better than Chapter 1, and that's all that matters. And it's getting a B tier because it was a really fun experience for Chapter 2 and 3. But it's not getting anything higher than A or anything higher than B because of Chapter 1. So, yeah, Trespass. Alrighty, the game that I consider better than Forgotten Memories. And not only do I consider it better than Forgotten Memories, but I consider it better than Doors. And that is Submarine Simulator. Submarine Simulator is the game that I have always wanted. A game that kind of does things I want other games to do that I really, really like. And that is a game trying to be something else that it's not. And this game does a perfect job at making it look like it's going to be a fun, like a really fun simulator type game, but really it's not. It's a horror game, and it's scary, and it's really terrifying. And the way the game is made, it's really well made, and it's a really amazing game. And the story is, even though the story was simple, it's still really great. And, the gameplay, yes, the gameplay is just you are kind of, doing a little bit of simple things. It's kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's. But like I said, it's still really good. I definitely recommend checking this game out. I wish this game would get a lot more praise and a lot more popularity because it definitely deserves it because it's a lot more, to me, it's a lot more better than Forgotten Memories in my personal opinion. It's just way more better. And I'm kind of sad this game is not getting the popularity or the praise that it deserves. But to me, it's, in my opinion, one of the best horror games of 2022, in my personal opinion. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for Submarine Simulator. Bewildered is a C tier. It's mediocre. It's really well made. The visuals look great, but the gameplay kind of sucks. It's just mazes, and that's really about all I could say. It's just mazes. And the game would have been a lot more better. Like, if it had one maze, it would have been fine, and then I probably would have given it a B tier, because the gameplay is somewhat alright, but it literally spams mazes on you, and it's just like, it's not fun. And I think the game did break on me that one time, and that kind of also ruined my experience a little bit more. And not only that, I don't think the game was that scary either. So it's a C tier. Bewater is C tier. All right, that's pretty much it. That is my rankings for all the horror games for 2022. And this is my video to end off 2022. So thank you guys for being with me for 2022. I'll try to upload more in 2023. I've just been very busy, and I've been working on my horror game that I've been, working on slowly and getting a lot of the things done with it. And hopefully I'll get to release it in 2023 and also upload a lot more. But yeah, thank you guys for a good year, and I hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve, and I'll be seeing you guys in 2023. Other than that, that is pretty much it. I'm Mr. Arcdim, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!